It was an Austrian kitchen, so we cooked Austrian food. The house that I ended up working at, which was a house for mentally ill juveniles. He's so cute. He stands there, he sees the bus coming, he says, the bus! He's like so happy that the bus is coming. He was in his head still a little kid, even though he was already like 16. Even while I was there, because I only worked till a certain time of the day, when I end up leaving, and he ends up running away and going on his bus ride.
Both babies are awake. Say good morning. Good morning.
Those people where I worked, they made really excellent ice cream, and you know, working there you get your ice cream for free, and I love ice cream, so it was like a really good job for me.
I did a job in this Irish pub as a waitress. The Guinness, for instance, when you pour that, you could do, because of the foam that would settle on top, you could do patterns on top.
Hi Melodies Lovelies. So I guess it's my turn again to say something at story time. I was thinking about speaking about all the different type of jobs that I had while being in Germany.
Disclaimer: the stories that I'm going to tell in this series are my experience, my truth, and my point of view over the past 38 years that I have been in Jamaica, and it's in no way intended to slander any person, the culture of Jamaica, or the island as a whole.
But we'll start off in the time when I went to Germany by myself to do the army or the civil service, which in my case I decided to do the civil service instead of going to the army. Which is a little bit longer. I think it takes like 2 or 3 months longer that you would have to be in service for your country. But I still opted to do my civil service, which was, I think at my time, roughly like 13 months that I had to give to the state. So in my hometown, which is Bielefeld, they have a town inside of a town, which is Bethel. Bethel is a town that is built up of multiple hospitals, like I think about 5 or 6 of them. It takes care of a lot of mentally challenged people, people with disabilities. They have wards for, extreme disabilities, like people that are dangerous for the society and stuff like that as well. So that town basically, I think my mom was talking about it already, that town basically had like its own bakery. It had its own currency, own supermarket where you could use that currency and pay for stuff. They had a lot of workshops and things for people with disability to work there and things like that. So anyway, I chose to apply at that place for my civil service job at that time, which I did, and luckily I got in. I got into one of those groups because it's, like I say, it's many houses. Each one of the houses has biblical names because it's a very religious town. So the house that I ended up working at, which was a house for mentally ill juveniles from like age group of, I would say, 5 or 6 all the way up to 18 when they were not juveniles anymore. The group that I worked at was called ARC or Eiche in German, which is ARC in English, you know, like Noah and the Ark. They had a sister building right beside it. They called it Regenbogen, which means rainbow. So, you know, Noah's Ark and rainbow. So anyway, I was working at ARC. started, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing there. It's civil service, so luckily they teach you everything. I practically had to take care of mentally ill juveniles. In my group, they were young, they were teenagers. They were from like 14-year-old to 17-year-olds that were in the group where I was working. It was 8 individuals, and we practically had to take care of them 24/7. Luckily for me, I was like more or less just a helping hand. So I had my regulated work schedule from like 8 to 4 or something like that. But it was really nice. What they actually did in that group, in those houses, was prepare those challenged people to better themselves. They teach them how to like personal hygiene. They teach them how to clean their rooms, how to cook. They try to teach them how to wash their clothes. I mean, everything that you need to have to live by yourself. So it was more or less like a teaching home, because these same individuals, they were going to school as well, which that village had a lot of, that town had a lot of schools in there as well for different patients. And the way it was is they came home who didn't go to school anymore, which was normally like 16-year-olds. They stopped going to school. They actually got jobs in that town. Jobs like, it's regular assembly jobs, small jobs where they'll put 2 parts together in an assembly, you know? And they got paid. They got paid in mark, which was the German currency at that time before they turned it over to euro. So they got paid in mark, and they got paid in the Bethel money, the money that they used in that town. So I practically spent 13 months working there. We got a little pay as well, or I got a little pay as well, even though you work for the government, but they give you enough money for you to survive while you're there working and everything. We actually went every Thursday. I think we used to go to a swimming hall, because you know it's cold in Germany, so it's most of the time you don't go swimming outside. You go swimming in like a big building, and they got swimming pools inside there with slides and everything. So every Thursday we used to go there, but they needed someone. I mean, they can't just take people there without having certified lifeguards that are responsible for whoever we take there. So, you know, I was a good swimmer all this time, so the organization, they actually paid to certify me as a lifeguard, which it was like a 1-day class, a very intensive class. Took the whole entire day with learning how to revive people, CPR, stuff like that. The whole diving thing, you had to dive a pool, a whole length of a what you call Olympic sized pool. We had to jump off of some high places. They showed you how to hold people while they're drowning, so that person doesn't get like all panicky and ends up pulling you under and stuff like that. So basically, yeah, I did that training, got back home, got my certificate and everything, and we're all good to go. So, you know, every Thursday I was responsible for like 3 or 4 people. We had maybe 4 of us there, and then we had 12 to 15 pupils that were just enjoying themselves, and each one of us was responsible for like 3 or 4 people. So it was a really nice time that I had doing that civil service. Taught me a lot about dealing with people with mental disabilities and things like that. We had a lot of people there that had epilepsy, that got seizures. Taught me how to deal with people having seizures, try to help them to relax and stuff like that. So anyway, after those 13 months, my time was up, and that's when I ended up going back to Jamaica. Those are the Jamaican stories that my mom has been talking about. Anyway, let's fast forward to me coming back to Germany after we lost everything in Jamaica. I came back. I think my first job, as soon as we came back, and we got it pretty quickly through some friends that my mom had, that Sabina had, was to work in a kitchen in a restaurant, pretty big restaurant in Bielefeld. I started out as a dishwasher, but I think pretty quickly, it only took like 2 months or so, they realized, oh, I can do more than just wash dishes. So they employed me as a cook, which I did for a pretty long while. I mean, it was an Austrian kitchen, so we cooked Austrian food, stuff like Kaiserschmarrn and Knödel and Spätzle and a lot of stuff that you guys maybe don't know, but you can Google it and then you know. So Austrian kitchen, which it taught me a lot of, a different way of cooking than what I knew from Jamaica and my mom's cooking and stuff like that. So it went to that point where we had a head chef, but I started working in the mornings and coming in and preparing and creating my own menu for the day, which, I mean, they trusted me that much that I could just go ahead and just create my own menu, my daily menus and stuff like that. So it was really interesting, an interesting time. But then luckily, like it's not that well paid, but luckily I visited the old place that I did my civil service in that town. I visited all the ex co-workers and stuff like that. And when I went there, they were telling me about an opening that they have one individual who needs someone to take care of them or take care of him on a more personal level. Like, they couldn't watch over him constantly because they had like 8 kids in their group, and he needed a lot of taking care of and a lot of watching. He had a tendency to run away and stuff like that. So they ended up having an opening, and I went there and they were like, yeah, are you interested in working here again and stuff like that? And I'm like, wow, yeah, that sounds very interesting. I'm definitely open to that opportunity again. And so it was between me and somebody else, and because they already knew me, they ended up giving me that job, and it was like perfect timing for me because that other job in the kitchen was kind of getting annoying to me. So I ended up starting working there. So that individual now, let's call him Ahmed or Ahmed, because he actually gave himself that name one day, and it was just so funny because he's definitely not an Ahmed. But so like I was saying, he had a tendency of just running away and doing things himself all day long. So I had to introduce myself, kind of let him know, okay, I'm responsible for you now. I'm the one who's gonna do things with you. I'm the one who's gonna teach you stuff, and we're gonna start doing things together. You can't just run off and do things by yourself. He loved traveling on buses and trains. So that's where this running away thing came from. His passion was buses and trains. He knew where every single bus, every single tram, and every single train that was in Bielefeld went. He knew all the stations, he knew all the stops. He used to run away so often and take those buses and those trains that he knew all the bus drivers and the tram drivers and everybody that was there. So it was really funny. But when he ran away like that, he didn't know time. So he would be gone until the buses stopped running and stuff like that. And in the winter it's pretty dangerous. He used to pee on himself and poo on himself and stuff like that because he never thought about going to the bathroom or asking somebody where's a bathroom. So it was kind of getting dangerous for him. So that's why they actually needed someone to be there and, you know, do things and try to keep him more under control. So anyway, I started working with him. Almost the first day, I think he decided he wanted to go out again and, you know, do his little joyrides. And I said, hey, why not? Let's just go together. Let me see what he actually really does. We went out. He went straight to the bus stop. He knew what time the bus was coming. Like I said, he doesn't know how to read or write or anything, but he knew exact times when the bus was coming. He knew the whole bus schedules. He knew all the train schedules and stuff like that. So he knew, okay, his bus was coming. He's so cute. He stands there. He sees the bus coming. He says, the bus. He's like so happy that the bus is coming. It was just always so cute. But anyway, so he goes in the bus. He says hi to the bus driver. Bus driver says hi back. Hi, Ahmed. How are you doing? You know, he's like, okay, let's go sit down. He pulls me. We sit down. All we did all day long was just drive around in that one bus. We drove around about, I don't know, 5 hours in that bus, you know, just going around and around and around. He wanted to come out, and it was like a neighboring town. We ended up going out there just for, you know, a little while, just because I wanted to get out of the bus too. He wanted to ride more, but I said, hey, let's just walk around here a little. So we ended up doing that. But yeah, that was more or less the first day. We went back on the bus, went back to the place, and he was happy. I was happy. I had a job, and he was really fun. But then, you know, it comes to teaching him now how to dress himself correctly. I had to teach him how to bathe correctly. I have to teach him how to wash his clothes. And he wasn't so far that he could really prepare his dinner, but, you know, like little things like get a sandwich and make yourself a sandwich and stuff like that. Those are things I had to teach him. I had to teach him that he's not supposed to be out until the middle of the night doing his joyrides. He needs to be home at a certain time, which that was one of the hardest things because, like I said, he doesn't know how to tell time. It started raining. I'm getting wet out here, but let's see if I can go up in here a little bit and not get wet. So it went to a point that we did almost everything together, you know, and he kind of, you know, grew attached to me. I grew attached to him because, of course, he was in his head still a little kid, even though he was already like 16. But yeah, it was more or less me just teaching him how to be more self-sufficient and learn how to take care of himself and you know, not go overboard with things. I mean, there have been times even while I was there, because I only worked till a certain time of the day, when I end up leaving and he ends up running away and going on his bus ride and getting, I don't know where he goes, neighboring towns and stuff like that, and he gets stuck there. When he gets stuck there now, he ends up, you know, defecating on himself and stuff like that. The police end up finding him freezing in a corner. They end up calling us, bringing him over and stuff like that. So it did get better in the time while I was there, to a point where he almost never went by himself. I mean, he did go by himself during the day sometimes, but he knew when to come back. He didn't just do it all day. I did that work there with him for about 3 years, I think. I was working in Germany doing that. It just always, that employment came through donations. And the donations for him, because he got older and older, it just got less and less. So I got less and less hours with him. So while I was doing that job, I ended up starting to do other jobs. I did I ended up working for a whole summertime. I ended up working at an ice cream parlor, which was really good too, because I mean, European ice cream, or I mean, German Italian ice cream is like the best in the world to me, because it just, I haven't been anywhere else where ice cream tastes as good as in Europe. And those people where I worked, they made really excellent ice cream, and you know, working there you get your ice cream for free, and I love ice cream, so it was like a really good job for me. I used to bring ice cream home. So I did that for like a summer season while I was doing the job in Bethel as well, until I met this guy who renovated houses, or he was like a guy who he was working for 3 or 4 apartment houses, and he used to renovate their apartments, and you know, like a handyman, he used to fix all the things that were going on there and stuff. So I met him, and he really needed somebody to help him out. And he was a guy, he talked a lot. He talked like constantly, non-stop. He wouldn't even take a breath while he was talking, and it was just too much for me to work with him. I was so happy when he started to say, okay, can you fix that apartment? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, I'll do everything. I'll do it by myself. You don't have to be there. It's all good. So, I mean, I did everything from flooring, electrical work. I did painting, tiling. I had to do all that stuff, renovating many apartments. At times, because he was an opportunist, he used to just get jobs like to move, like mover jobs. He'd get his truck, and then a whole day would be taking out everything, all the furniture, everything out of one apartment and moving it into another apartment and stuff like that. So I ended up doing that job as well on the side with all the other stuff that I've been doing. I guess I had a friend in Berlin, which you all know him as Blue Balls. We did flooring together because you know, I helped him out a couple times doing some flooring when he needed some help, and we did my floor, we did my mom's apartment, we did the flooring there, we did I think another friend of mine's, we did the flooring there. So I did a lot of different things while I was in Germany. So until the day came that I decided to go back to Jamaica, which was 2000. When did I go back to Jamaica, Carrie? Do you know? No idea? I think it was like 2014.
2007?
No. Yeah, no, 7. Yeah, that's true. Something 2007 or something. I went back to Jamaica. But you know, those are the Jamaica stories that are gonna come later on. Just wanted to give you a little insight in the time while I was in Germany, the kind of jobs that I was doing, trying to keep myself afloat, because you know, I had my own apartment and all that. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say for today. I think Mayumi is gonna have a little thing to put to this, so yeah, let's call it a day. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Good morning, guys. So this is gonna be. I'm so sorry. I'm still a bit tired. I just woke up. Anyways, today is gonna be a story about a couple other stuff that I did while I was in school and stuff. So when we got to Germany, as mommy said, we were up and down trying to get me into a school. When I finally got into a school, my German was lacking. So I could understand German and I could speak it a bit, but I couldn't read or write it. So when I got there, due to that, because I had to learn how to do all of these things, I had to be put in a special type of school where I would be able to learn it as quick as possible. So when I started at school, I was not happy because, we just left Jamaica and my boyfriend at the time. So I wasn't happy at all. But then something clicked in my head. And I just said, all right, to get things done quickly, to get back to Jamaica as quick as possible, let me just concentrate on getting my schooling done, and then I can get back to my boyfriend. And that was what was going on in my head. So I decided to concentrate and do what I was supposed to do. And basically within 3 months, I was perfect. Well, not perfect, because up to this day I'm not perfect, but I was good enough in German where, I was doing well. I was doing well enough. After my time in high school, I did a couple years in college as well, doing assistant social worker. And while I was working in college, while I was going to college, not working in college, I did a job in this Irish pub as a waitress, serving customers. So Irish pub is a franchise in Germany, coming from Ireland. It's basically just a place that does like beers. So their main thing is Guinness, regular beer, dark beer, and all of these stuff. But it's from the tap. It's a draft beer. So not the tap. It's a draft beer. So it's always poured in glasses. And the Guinness, for instance, when you pour that, you could do, because of the foam that would settle on top, you could do patterns on top. So I kind of learned how to do that as well. Not major patterns, but simple patterns like a clover and a heart. I was able to do that. And then they served like pizzas, and they would serve like hot chocolate, but it was mainly beer. And while I was working there as well, we started to do quiz night. And after a while, when we had quiz night, they wanted me to become quiz master because, I'm fluent in both English and German. And we always had English-speaking customers and German-speaking customers, so we always did both. So when I became the quiz master, Mommy and Yesha used to come there quite often as well for quiz nights. And funnily enough, hold on, I gotta go get Kiki. She's awake. All right, so both babies are awake. Say good morning. Good morning. So yes, back to what I was saying. So I became the quiz master, and Mommy and Yasha came there quite often, and a lot of times we would have teams, and we had this group of, I think, about 5 or 6 people, and then Mommy and Yasha. And while I was doing the quiz master, the questions that I did, and so Mommy and Yasha would win quite often, these two smarty pants. I mean, the group won a few times as well, but I think Mom and Yasha actually won more than they did. I mean, there were other people as well, but they were like small groups, like maybe 1 person or 2 persons, sometimes 3 persons, but it was mainly them that was doing it. And yeah, basically Mommy and Yasha would win quite often, and it was just fun because I tried to make it a bit fun, joking around and stuff and whatever. At first, when I started, I was really shy, you know, being on top of the stage with microphone. Where's his nose? With microphone and, you know, doing these things. But after a while, I got used to it. So, yeah. And then while working in Irish pub, we used to have this yearly get-together with all the Irish pubs in Germany. So once a year, we would go travel to a different part of Germany, and everybody would get together, as in the employees and stuff. And I think it was I don't remember if it was 2 nights or 3 nights that we spent, and we would go there and just enjoy ourselves, eating, drinking, chatting, getting to know all the other workers that were employed at the Irish pub and stuff. And we would get really drunk, drinking, and doing crazy stuff. It was real fun. And the types of people that were working at Irish pub as well, it was very multicultural. Basically from everywhere, because you would have to be able to can speak English and German. And due to that, I guess we got different types of people coming from all over the world would work there. So yeah, there was some fun times working there. Daddy.
Morning, John.
Morning, Daddy. Good morning. Daddy just got in. But yeah, so I guess that's my story for now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time.